We will move on to agenda item 6, discuss and act on the sheriff's remodel project and all related issues. Commissioner Stacy.
Yes.
You know, all this technology, we don't have any ability to present from our chairs. Just
One day. One day.
so what I'm going to do is cover most of what's coming up with the sheriff's on the next 3 or 4 agenda items. I want to get you guys caught up to speed on what we're doing. I want to start by saying that we are not over budget at all. In fact, when we're done with today, we should have about $388,000 basically of contingency. It's not technically contingency, but that's what we're going to have in the project. So I'm going to kind of walk you through where we are and where we're going. Turning an old jail into workable office space has been rather difficult. At the end, when we vote on all these PCOs, we will be moving out of the old jail. That will be the last of the known issues in that side. There's always little things that pop up, but all the big issues. So we knew it was going to be hard, and it's been hard. One of the biggest things we tried to do was update the technology infrastructure. This building was built before I was in high school. And I'm not that old, but I'm also not that young. So a lot has changed. So there's been a lot of plug and play, a lot of trying to develop things. We have IT closets throughout that we're turning into usable space. This has technically probably been our single most hit to the budget, is rerouting the IT, building the IT closet, and actually figuring out what that entails. We do have all the furniture priced, but we have not ordered the furniture yet. There's a few reasons for that. We can dive into the weeds, but furniture is not on the agenda today. It'll probably be on the next court. The last time we had an emergency, our generator did not turn on properly. We have figured that out, and we have fixed that. Also not a cheap process or even a short process. It has taken time from the electrician to our maintenance personnel trying to figure out what happened, how is it being routed. We did a generator study before we started, trying to figure out what's plugged into what turns on. We have the last PCO here that finishes out the generator study so that we can test it and make sure it actually works as it's designed. Evidence storage is going to probably be our next kind of stopping point, honestly. Moving evidence from where it is to where it's going to be permanently is not a simple process. Everything has to be cataloged, accounted for, and moved. We are basically rushing as fast as we can to get evidence moved, but there's a really good chance that we are just going to be sitting there watching evidence be moved. It is not a process we can speed up. It is a very, very specific thing. There's 254 agencies in Texas that do this, so it's not a common occurrence to move evidence around and to do all this stuff. So we're hoping that in June we will have evidence completed, but I just want y'all to know that that's going to be probably a huge stopping point if just the way that the calendars and the timing's coming together. May 6th is when we plan on moving dispatch. This has become an all hands on deck experience. This has been our primary focus, is to figure out how to get dispatch properly moved and turned back on. We are almost ready to do that. Once dispatch is moved, we have to then move evidence, and then we'll do the last bit of demo on the project. So dispatch and evidence are kind of grouped together geographically in the building, so it kind of makes sense with them being very, very high priority items to get them ready and then demo them at the same time. And that will be kind of the phase. So what was phase 1, 2, and 3 has basically been pulled into a phase and then dispatch and evidence. And that is an attempt to get back time. The remodel of the command staff's offices are underway, and our goal is to put the sheriff's personnel back in their spaces when they become back online. So if you remember, there was a mass exodus from the building. Patrol, I think, is the only one, and some clerks and dispatch are the only things operating in the building. Almost the entire building is under construction now, which wasn't the intent when we started. But the command staff offices are moving along really well. And then we basically now have a phase one, evidence and dispatch. And you'll see an OCO that pretty much funds it that way on the agenda. You're also going to see on the OCO that there's about $300,000 coming from the owner side into the project. That isn't it is technically an increase in the budget, but it's not an increase in what we've known about the budget. We had about $1 million set aside in the owner's allowances, and we have been spending all of the contractor's contingency to date. So we are basically taking owner's money and putting it into the contractors and trying to make that as whole as we can with a lot of the changes that we've done. So I believe on the third floor you had 12 or 13 PCOs. On this court we have, I think, 12 on the sheriff's office. So I'm going to go through them. PCO 19 is basically door staining and additional floor floating. Again, you get in there and you start actually doing this and you start seeing issues that have to be corrected in order to make this building look nice. PCO 20 is a whole bunch of wiring for technology. Again, this is the second time we've had to rewire for technology. It's good fun. This is PCO 22. This is additional IT equipment as we went through and tried to figure out how we want to build out these spaces. This is things that weren't in the original scope.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
When you show coming out of contingency, is that contractor contingency?
That is contractor contingency.
Okay, thank you.
On 23, this is Frank's favorite one. This is the AC units that were put in place. It was originally supposed to be about $66,000. We fought them, got it down to $49,775. You will see this on consent because I signed it because I was done with it and we needed to get the mechanical contractor to buy the AC units and move forward. This is making some of the warehouse walls look nice. If you remember, it's been so long since I probably should just stop and look at the project at some point. They have a warehouse in the back that we've turned into a training center, and we are adding some stuff to make that look a little nicer on the walls with some wall finishes. Hold on. There we go. This PCO 25 is what I asked them to do. I feel like the way the contractor's written, every time they get into an allowance, it requires court action. So I had them drain all their allowances and just put them into contingency. It's not going to be much different for our purposes, but they have a contingency bucket, we have an owner's bucket, and we have these allowance buckets, and it's making it very confusing for us to track the progress of the project as far as how much money do we have in the project, how much money have we spent in the project. So I'm kind of currently trying to eliminate these buckets of money to make it easier for us to manage from a more executive level of, okay, how much is here and how much is there. I feel like every time they even drain an allowance, it requires court action. So why have an allowance if we have to act on it as a court? So this is draining all the remainder of the allowances. Some of them are 50 cents, some of them are $100, some of them have money. They were just all up and down the contract. I asked them, just make a contractor's contingency. So this money is just being shifted to the contractor's contingency. This is our general conditions. Again, we're under budget, but we're not ahead of schedule. We're behind schedule by about 90 days. And so this gets SCI, our general contractor, to the actual agreed upon new schedule. Again, this was negotiated down from $86,000 to $54,000 for them to continue the contract through completion. So now we can say we're not behind schedule because we rewrote the schedule. You thought that was funny. This is the final piece of electrical work that we're aware of. This is mainly in the dispatch area, generator, and then adding the circuits for the changes in mechanical. And then this is getting us locks for lockers. I don't know why we ordered lockers without locks, to be honest with you, but we did. So we've got the lockers, and now this is us putting electronic locks on all of the lockers. 29 was an additional inspection that wasn't on anyone's scope because we decided in the process to separate the jail from the sheriff's office. And so we needed someone to come and inspect the fire alarm an additional time. And then PCO 30 is additional painting and items like that were not in the original scope. OCO moves, again, memorializes all the changes through PCO 30. We have about $380,000 in contingency between owners and contractors. When it's done, I calculate it to be about $388,000, but we haven't ordered the furniture yet. And we also then put our $290,000 of owner's allowances in to the contract, and then all of our PCO changes are then memorialized into an OCO. We are expecting the furniture to come out to be around $520,000. This is a large space, and we just haven't finalized a purchase for several reasons. Again, I think you'll see furniture on the next, but I have deducted the furniture purchase from all the numbers I gave you. So I'm assuming we're spending $520,000 on furniture with all the numbers I gave you because it's a known quantity. We kind of have an order together, but we're finalizing a few minor things at the end. So with that, I wanted to walk you guys through where we are. So I will go sit back down, but we do have several action items, so y'all can take them when you want to take them, as far as if we wanted to just go straight into talking about this presentation or what, because it is all one big thought, in my opinion.
It is one big thought. However, on this agenda item, it is just the sheriff's remodel project. A couple agenda items from now, we get into the contract change orders and approving SCI's contract, and we get into the very next agenda item, we get into the renewal of Broadus contract.
Right.
And amendment to the professional services agreement with Park Hill. So the next several items. So, well, I appreciate, we can definitely have discussion underneath this broad agenda item. We obviously can't take action underneath this.
No, that was a great recap, John. Thank you very much. What is right now your estimated for the total remodel for the jail?
So we budgeted about 7.1 million, and I would expect it to come in right around 7 million.
Okay.
Unless we see something else happen. So I'm trying to get it under, my plan is to deliver a project before the next budget under budget.
Okay.
That is my goal.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I will say, somebody who's, as I said, the job site meeting that I attended, somebody who's sat in several of these meetings, anytime you open up the ceiling, the floor, or the wall in an old building, it is like Christmas. You don't know what you're getting till you open it up, and seldom is it a good surprise. Rarely do you go, oh, yay, this is going to save us money.
Correct. And there are only two more areas to demo, which is the dispatch and evidence. So we have demoed every part of the building. So every wall that's going to be opened up has been opened up, other than those two areas.
Got it. Any other questions? All right, no action required on agenda item 6. We're going to move on to agenda item 7, discuss and act on the renewal of Broadus contract and all related issues. Commissioner Stacy.
Yeah, so what we were in the process of doing on this project, as you can see with some of these PCOs, is looking at getting all of our contracts lined up to the new agreed date, which are contract extensions. When during this process, there was a request for $150,000 of owner's reps for the extension, I was looking at that being pretty much budgetarily difficult for us to do. So we are looking at terminating our contract with Broadus. And then on the next agenda item, and I'm not going to get there, Frank, just hold on because they're kind of interrelated, would be adding some scope to Park Hill's contracts, because we're not going to be left without an architect to look over all the things that they were doing as far as what's going on with the pay, and making sure that all the changes are correct and that everything is being done from a design perspective. So we're not going without an architect looking at our best interest, but we are looking at getting rid of this contract. And again, it really came down to dollars and cents on this one.
Excuse me, commissioners, questions?
I don't have a question, but I would applaud you, Commissioner Stacy, for saving us money. And I'd make a motion that we do not renew the broadest contract.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lichty,
I'll second it.
second by Commissioner Maklick. Any further questions or comments? If you'll register your votes now, please. That passes 5-0. That takes us to agenda item 8, discuss and act on approving AIA document G802-2017 amendment to the professional services agreement with Park Hill and all related issues. Commissioner Stacy.
So this is a $74,000 extension. This is coming out of the owner's side. So this isn't coming out of the contract with our general contractor. Just to walk you through the numbers, to continue their services was going to be $30,000. So the additional owner's rep services they're providing is $44,000 for 5 months. So it's going to be a $74,000 contract with Park Hill to get us from here to the finish line.
Questions for Commissioner Stacy?
I'll make a motion that we approve AIA document G802-2017, the amendment to the professional services agreement with Park Hill.
Got a motion by Commissioner Lichty,
Second.
second by Commissioner Galana. Any further questions or comments? If you'll register your votes now, please. That passes 5-0. That takes us to agenda item 9, discuss and act on approving prime contract change orders number 19, 20, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30 to the agreement with the SCI Construction for the Rockwall County Sheriff Office renovation and all related issues. Commissioner Stacy.
Well, I went through them in the presentation, so I don't know if anyone has any specific questions. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that we approve prime contract change orders number 19, 20, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30 to the agreement of SCI Construction.
Have a motion by Commissioner Stacy,
I'll second that.
second by Commissioner Lichty. Any further questions or comments? If you'll register your votes now, please. That passes 5-0. Takes us to agenda item 10, discuss and act on approving official change order number 1 to the SCI contract and all related issues. Commissioner Stacy.
Yes, and so what we're doing here is moving about $300,000 of owner's allowance into the SCI contract to rebuild the the contractor's contingency, and then making all the PCOs part of the actual official change order in hopes that we don't have 30 more to finish the project.
I'll make a motion that we approve change order, the official change order number 1 to the SCI contract.
We have a motion by Commissioner Maklick,
Second.
second by Commissioner Galana. Any further questions or comments? If you'll register your votes now, please. That passes 5-0.